Tonight, at least 27 people are reported killed in 2 local government areas of Zamfara State. Residents of one of the communities say they were attacked after they refused to pay 400 million naira levy to terrorists. Borno State government reopens Maiduguri-Gamborungala Road 3 years after it was closed to motorists due to frequent attacks by insurgents. More illegal oil refining site destroyed in special operation by the Nigerian Navy ship in Gubernatorial local government area of River State. And rescuers enter final stages of operation to reach a 5-year-old boy who fell into a deep well in Morocco.
And on business news tonight, Nigeria's largest electricity generating station, AD Power, resumes operations following recent fire incident at its thermal plant.
On sports news tonight, the Falconettes of Nigeria thrashed Cameroon 3-0 to reach the final round of the qualification series for this year's FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup.
It's another period of mourning in Zamfara, as at least 27 people have been reported killed by terrorists in separate attacks in 2 communities in the state. The communities are Nasara Meifara in Asafe local government area and Yakastina in Bugudu local government area, the same council where over 30 people were killed in early January. While 17 people were killed in Nasara Meifara community, 10 others lost their lives in Yakastina community in the attacks that took place on Thursday, but was not reported until now. The state police spokesperson, Mohammed Shehu, told Channels Television that the military and government officials have visited the areas to assess the situation. It was gathered that the attack on Nasara Meifara was due to the failure of residents to pay a 40 million naira levy imposed by one Ado Aleru, a notorious terrorist operating in the area and in Faskari part of Katsina State. 3 years after its closure, following continuous attacks on the Lake Chad area by insurgents, the 137-kilometer Maiduguri-Gamborungala highway has been reopened to motorists by the Borno State government alongside the military. Governor Babagana Zulum commended the military and local vigilantes for securing the region. He also asked the road users to be law-abiding as well as cooperate with security operatives for the full return of economic activities to that area.
Maiduguri-Gamborungala Federal Highway is one of the busiest and popular commercial roads connecting the northeast sub-region to Cameroon, Chad, and Niger Republic. 3 years back, the road was closed as a result of several attacks on major towns of Dekwa, Mafa, and the Gamborungala area, crippling economic activities. Good news is coming the way of residents as Governor Babagana Zulum, alongside the theatre commander of the Joint Task Force Operation Hadinkai, Major General Christopher Musa, cut the tape signifying official reopening of the road.
Today, we have reopened the Dekwa Gamborungala Road. Commercial activities have fully resumed in Gubio, in Damasak, in Banki, in Mongono, in Baga, among others. Therefore, I must to convey my deep appreciation to the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Nigerian Forces, to the Chief of Army Staff, and did all other military formations in Nigeria for the support that they have been rendering to the government people.
To the commuters and the National Union of Road Transport Workers, it's a welcome development.
Then we were scared, but now, due to how government has done their best on it, so it's a thing of joy and a privilege for us to go today safely without any stress or any problem on the way.
Apart from us in Borno State, those in Cameroon and Niger Republic will also benefit from the reopening of the road. The military have been doing their best to escort passengers to and fro, and we thank God. The government has boosted their morale through donation of petrol, vehicles.
With the donation of patrol vehicles to the military and local vigilante by the Borno state government, it's believed that the only remaining road connecting Maiduguri, the state capital, to Damboa and Biu will soon be reopened for economic activities.
From the north, we head south, where the campaign to end illegal oil bunkering and refining of petroleum products in Rivers State is being stepped up with the involvement of the Nigerian Navy. Navy troops have destroyed several of such illegal facilities in Akukutoru local government area of the state in support of the ongoing effort by the state government to end the crime. The action is part of a special operation, codenamed Operation River Dominance, commissioned by the Nigerian Navy ship NNS Pathfinder in Port Harcourt, the state capital.
The fight to end illegal oil bunkering and artisanal refining of petroleum products in Rivers State is getting intensified by the day. The last 5 weeks have seen the 23 council chairman record considerable level of successes following Governor Nyesom Wike's directive. To add more force to the anti-vandalism campaign, the Nigerian Navy is deploying this troop of tactical riverine assault squadron of the NNS Pathfinder in Port Harcourt to the creeks of Abise, a community described as a den of illegal oil bunkering activities in Akukutoru local government area. For several hours, the combined team of naval officers, local task force, and journalists are led by the NNS Pathfinder base operation officer and the chairman of Akukutoru local government area on a rough journey through polluted swamps where several illegal refineries and makeshift camps for the operators are spotted and destroyed. The naval team lead speaks on the achievements of the operation so far.
We've established riverine command posts and waterborne guard posts within the waterways. And the establishment of this post has provided deterrence by denial, in that it has denied freedom of action to the economic saboteurs by stopping them from moving the illegal products. You can see there's a lot of cohesion between the Navy, the local civil authorities, and of course other security agencies. And it is my belief that that is a key enabler towards the attainment of our collective objective of fighting economic saboteurs in Rivers State.
For the chairman of the Akukutoru local government area of Rivers State, the fight must continue with the support of security agencies.
I want to thank the Nigerian Navy especially for making it possible for we to be in this swamp. Without them, we wouldn't be able to come here. Because of our terrain, we must come here with gunboats. And they have graciously provided the gunboats, personnel and logistics. Also want to thank the Nigerian police, led by the DPO of the local government, the DSS, the NSCD.
With the current collaboration between the government authorities, security forces and civilian agents, this fight looks certain to be won.
Outside our shores, the president is pledging Nigeria's commitment to the pursuit of peace and progress in Africa and other parts of the world by consistently standing for justice, fairness and inclusiveness in global affairs. President Muhammadu Buhari gave this assurance today during a meeting with the Prime Minister of Palestine on the sidelines of the ongoing African Union meeting in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. According to him, the country remains unwavering in supporting democracy, development and good governance, especially in ensuring the rights of individuals and institutions. The president maintains that as a country, we are doing our best and will continue doing our best to ensure justice and fairness. On his part, the Palestinian leader thanks President Buhari for his leadership role in Africa. He also draws attention to the situation in the Middle East, especially relations with Israel, which he says has deteriorated over the years. To political matters now, and more drama is unfolding in that space, especially amongst political parties. And the latest is coming from the Allied People's Movement. The national chairman of the party, Alhaji Yusuf Dantale, at a news conference in Abuja today, announced the suspension of the party's board of trustees, citing the inability to perform their official duties. Well, the party's BOT members are not taking the suspension lightly, as they accuse the party's national chairman of financial misappropriation, insisting they are being persecuted for demanding accountability.
The leadership of the Allied People's Movement, APM, addressing journalists after a meeting of the party's National Working Committee in Abuja. The impasse between the party's Board of Trustees and its National Working Committee is brought to the fore as the chairman announces the suspension of the Board of Trustees.
After a thorough review of the constitutional structure, duties and activities of the party's Board of Trustees, BOT, as enshrined in Article 9, Section A2, subsection AK of APM Constitution, we have resolved that the BOT of our party, as presently constituted, is deficient, ineffective, and cannot perform our official function as clearly stated in our Constitution. Consequently, we have decided to unanimously pass a vote of no confidence and suspend the entire BOT until further notice. You are disturbing our meeting, sir. You are disturbing our meeting, sir. You are disturbing our meeting.
However, members of the Board of Trustees disagree with the suspension, insisting that they are being persecuted for demanding accountability from the chairman of the party.
This next member that I brought, we don't know them. It's just recently he started calling them, he's going to give them. We don't know them. We BOT is supposed to know them. So we are surprised to see new faces here. Maybe he's been paid for, he paid for them and then they came. So our case here, because we are an integrity party, we want to sacrifice and we are providing services. Our motto is integrity, sacrifice, and what? And service. As an integrity officer, being the #1, the national chairman, please follow our constitution and kindly step aside.
The Allied People's Movement is one of the 18 registered political parties in Nigeria with very minimal representation at the National Assembly, a situation that could get worse if the current crisis in the party is not urgently addressed.
Staying with politics, the former governor of Ekiti State, Mr. Segun Oni, has once again announced his exit from the People's Democratic Party, PDP, a party he returned to after defecting from the All Progressive Congress, APC. Mr. Oni, who is aspiring to govern the state for a second time, is apparently displeased with the outcome of the recent PDP governorship primary, which left him in second place behind the party's flag bearer, Mr. Bisi Kolawole. The spokesperson for the Segun Oni movement, Mr. Jackson Adebayo, confirmed to Channels Television that the former governor has decided to leave the PDP with his supporters, explaining that he will be announcing his next move in the days ahead. There has been grumbling within Oni's camp over the January 26 governorship primary, which they claim was tailored to favor the camp of former governor Ayodele Fayose. Igbo leaders agitating for the emergence of a Nigerian president for the Southeast in 2023 appear not to be relenting in their demand. The leaders, under the aegis of the Igbo Elders Consultative Forum, say their request is genuine, one that will enable the country to actualize its potentials. The chairman of the forum and the former governor of Anambra State, Chief Chukwuemeka Ezeife, stated this at a meeting with the leadership of the Arewa Youth Federation in Abuja.
My young men, thank you for thinking better than your older brothers and sisters. Thank you for endorsing fully power shift to the Southeast. You will not regret it. Nigeria will become what God intended it to be because of all these resources given to us. Nigeria will become a superpower and rest the respect and dignity of all black on earth. It has become clear that the problem of Nigeria is with people like me, older politicians, who have lost their consciences. I thank you for telling the truth to everybody. The power should shift to the southeast.
In part two, after the break, Minister of Transportation Rotimi Amechi bags the traditional title of the trustworthy son of Daura as he's turbaned by the Emir, Alhaji Umar Farouk. That's in a moment. Join us again. If you just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 live on Channels Television Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. At least 27 people are reported killed in 2 local government areas of Zamfara State. Residents of one of the communities say they were attacked after they refused to pay 40 million naira levy to terrorists. Borno State government reopens Maiduguri-Gamborungala Road 3 years after it was closed to motorists due to frequent attacks by insurgents. More illegal oil refining sites destroyed in a special operation by the Nigerian Navy ship in Gubernatorial local government area of River State. And rescuers enter final stages of operation to reach a 5-year-old boy who fell into a deep well in Morocco. All roads led to the ancient town of Daura in Katsina State today for the turbaning of the Minister of Transportation, Mr. Rotimi Amechi, as the first Dan Amana Daura in the state. The title, which is translated to mean the trustworthy son of Daura, was conferred on him by the Emir of Daura, Alhaji Umar Farouk. He said the honor is in recognition of the minister for his federal projects cited in the states, amongst which are the University of Transportation, Federal Polytechnic Daura, and the Kano Rail Line project. Earlier, the president commended the minister for working with enormous energy to make a change, especially in the transportation sector.
It's a large gathering of traditional rulers, political associates, prominent Nigerians and locals here to witness the turbaning of the Minister of Transportation, Mr. Rotimi Amechi, as the Dan Amanar Daura at the palace of the Emir of Daura, which is also the hometown of President Muhammadu Buhari in Katsina State. The title conferred is in recognition of the achievements recorded by the minister in the transport sector and, by extension, Daura.
I want to seize this moment to reassure all of our total commitment and continuous support to the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari and all policies and programs of the Katsina State government under the leadership of Governor Aminu Masari. On a very serious note, the Daura Emirates Council does not give titles anyhow, but to people who deserve it, like Honorable Rotimi Amechi.
And to the main business of the day, Mr. Amechi is now turbaned as the Dan Amana Daura, alongside a prominent businessman, Nasiru Khaladu Danu, as Tafida Baba of Daura. Gifts are also presented by some South-South leaders to the Daura Emirate Council in appreciation of the honor to their son.
Oh, this is very impressive. We from the Niger Delta are proud that our son has been recognized and is being given a big turban in this manner. You can see we are here in full force. We have some of our other traditional rulers also and other leaders around to give you support.
I'm happy, it's well deserved. You know, the Emirates, I'm a traditional person myself. They're not playing politics. This is purely out of the genuine desire to honor a man who has done very good, not just for this community, but for Nigeria as a whole.
The gathering now moves to the Daura Motel, where dignitaries are treated to a reception. The conferment of royal titles as a mark of honor and reward for outstanding service in most societies is one of the traditional practices that have lingered through the ages.
To health issues now, efforts towards ensuring that residents of Adamawa State have quick and affordable access to Medicare appears to be in top gear, as Governor Umar Fintiri has reiterated his commitment to the initiative. This, the government says, is being driven through provision and improvement of healthcare facilities across the state. The latest being the flag-off and foundation-laying ceremony of an ultra-modern health laboratory in Yola, the state capital.
Governor Umar Fintiri, alongside his deputy and members of the State Council, arrived at the Yola Specialist Hospital for the flag-off of the construction of a state-of-the-art public health laboratory. They are received by officials of the Adamawa State Ministry of Health and primary healthcare workers. The event is one that is in line with the state government's plan towards improving healthcare system in Adamawa State, especially in the wake of various disease outbreaks.
Your Excellency,
the State Commissioner for Health and the Managing Director of the Yola Specialist Hospital describes the project as world-class and one that meets the World Health Organization standards.
This lab, when completed, is going to be fully equipped with all the modern gadgets to the World Health Organization standards in chemical pathology, microbiology, hematology, and histopathology.
We have already started receiving the consignment you have purchased in this state from America. 2 containers has arrived Specialist Hospital already. 4 containers are already on their way to Specialist Hospital. You have also promised us that we are soon going to commence training of staffs for training in minimal invasive surgery, which the world has now changed to instead of open surgery.
Governor Fintiri speaks on more projects set to kick off.
We are tremendously improving the infrastructure in our existing hospitals and even building new facilities across the state. Works have reached advanced stage and some have been completed. In the 4 brand new cottage hospitals we are constructing in Gombe, Gire, Shelen, and Lamuri.
The governor proceeds to lay the foundation for the project. The state government says when operational, the laboratory will aid prompt response to medical emergencies and disease outbreaks in Adamawa, neighboring northeastern states, and the Republic of Cameroon and Chad.
Still talking health, as a signatory to the 2001 Abuja Declaration, Nigeria is supposed to allocate 15% of its annual budget to the sector. However, this target has not been met in the 2022 budget, as just about 876 billion naira of the over 17 trillion naira budget was earmarked for health, representing just about 5%. In this next report, our correspondent, John Mekwa, examines the budget for health in the face of the challenges in the sector.
According to the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, infant mortality currently stands at 69 per 1,000 live births, while for under 5s, it rises to 128 per 1,000 live births. More than half of the under 5 deaths, that's 64%, results from malaria, pneumonia, or diarrhea. Currently, Nigeria contributes 10% of global deaths for pregnant mothers, placing its maternal mortality rate at 576 per 100,000 live births, the 4th highest on earth. This sounds the need for urgent attention to the health sector, emphasized by the consequences of COVID-19 pandemic. To cater for this, the 2022 budgets allocate 876.38 billion naira as the total for health allocation. The Ministry of Health and Agencies gets 770.87 billion naira.
Immunization 49.37 billion naira, Basic Healthcare Provision Fund gets 56.14 billion naira, and Hazard Allowance for Health Workers has 50 billion naira.
When Mr. President was going to sign that budget, he signed the budget with a lot of reservations based on observations in terms of alleged padding. There is a process on now to submit these amendments, which Mr. President hinted would be made and be sent to the National Assembly before you can then have the final figures. So, but having said that, the first thing to say on a general basis is that we of course, we have mandates as given by Mr. President. This includes issues having to do with mandatory and universal health insurance schemes, of course, with collaboration between the national and the sub-national government.
It's no wonder that the Universal Health Insurance Scheme is prioritized for 2022, as it has the potential to make up for funding. However, while the National Health Insurance Scheme became operational in 2005, records show that almost 77% of Nigerian population still practice out-of-pocket payment. The solution may lie in decentralizing the scheme.
Insurance is a game of number. When you have the number, the chances are that you are going to have reduced premium. All of us will begin to also think of, okay, look, we want to go universal health coverage. Can we encourage all Nigerians to have at least the basic health care plan, on top of which people can top up if they have ability to pay for it?
So far, 19 states, which include Anambra, Delta and Lagos, have adopted universal health coverage through establishments of their respective health insurance schemes. However, personnel and brain drain, which surged in the midst of COVID-19, stands in the way of optimal implementation.
There are a lot of setbacks by the emergence of this COVID-19. Because we have a challenge of human resource, looking into the number of health facilities we have, 819. And of course, looking into the number of health personnel we have, to manage these 819 health facilities is not easy.
The Minister of State for Health hints that with the myriad of needs in the sector, the federal government is working with the private sector on various fronts.
One of such, you recall that not long ago, the Afro-Exim Bank, they had the turning of the sword here in Abuja. Don't forget that we have BVNL right now, Bio Vaccine Nigeria Limited, which is a joint venture, a kind of a special purpose vehicle that that has been put in place. It's a joint venture between the federal and the private pharmaceutical company.
The collaboration with the private sector to boost funding may already be yielding fruit, as seen in the recently launched 62.1 billion naira HIV Trust Fund of Nigeria, which is to cater for not just HIV, but other deadly diseases. Ini John Mekwa, Channels Television News.
Still ahead on the news at 10, we'll be examining the 2022 budget as it applies to the health sector. And we have a professor of public health from the Bayero University, Kano, Professor Isa Sadiq Abubakar, to discuss this. Join us again. Let's get perspectives on the challenges of health management and funding in the country. And we're being joined live from our Kano studios by a professor of public health from the Bayero University, Kano, Professor Isa Sadiq Abubakar. A pleasure having you with us on the news at 10.
Thank you very much, Belinda. Thank you.
The allocation to the health sector in the 2022 budget is just 4.34% of the entire budget. Now, this means that the country has failed yet again by 10.66% to meet its 2001 health sector commitment. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, it's really a shame that about 20 years after the African leaders under the auspices of African Union met in Abuja in Nigeria to decide that 15% or more of the total budget every year should be allocated to the health sector. But we are still allocating something less than 1/3 of that. Of course, that is a far cry from the reality of what we are trying to achieve. We have enormous challenges in the health sector that this amount of money earmarked cannot really address. In fact, the amount of money is not more than what 2 teaching hospitals need to run effectively.
So in view of this underfunding, how much changes do you see taking place in terms of improved facilities while dealing with different infectious diseases across the country?
Of course, just a little, because even the budgetary implementation is nothing to write home about. We are allocating some money that at the end of the year is not completely utilized. And then there are a lot of leakages. So the result is that we do not see much infrastructure going into the health facilities and other health institutions, and then services running in these health facilities are a far cry from normal, actually. So we are just below the pass mark.
Well, Prof, we know that apart from government's annual budget, funding is also provided by various donor agencies and international bodies. All this put together, will you say health authorities have enough to address the challenges?
Not really, because the health sector in Nigeria is still largely funded by out-of-pocket expenditure, in spite of what the government is allocating and what the international partners are bringing on the table. We are still very far away from the desired goal, and that is why one is not surprised that our health workers, out of frustration, are leaving the shores of the country for greener pastures, because retaining them is becoming more and more difficult for the government, and the services rendered by the few of us that are left behind are not able to meet up with the many challenges of addressing the issues of non-communicable diseases, which are on the increase, communicable diseases like the neglected tropical diseases, the public health emergencies that are rearing their heads, and then the increased injuries and violence that is on the rise is resulting into a large number of patients that we are not able to cater for. And then the human resources for health is still not being able to satisfy the what we are looking for in the health sector.
So in view of this mega funding, what do you think should be on the top of the list for the sector now? What should they be looking at addressing immediately?
Yes, we need to rearrange our priorities in addressing the health challenges. We need to reduce leakages and then try to revamp the health sector by leveraging resources from different angles. We need to increase our participation in public-private partnerships so that there will be more money being allocated to the health sector, and then ensure that the money that is even earmarked for the health sector is being channeled so that there's complete release. We need to, the taxes that government is increasing needs to be channeled into the health sector, and then we reduce our spendings on other sectors so that we can bring more money for the health sector to run itself.
Thank you, Professor Isa Sadiq Abubakar, Professor of Public Health from Bayero University, Kano. A pleasure sharing your thoughts with us.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure.
Here in Lagos, the State Vehicle Inspection Service has denied claims that the process of obtaining a roadworthiness certificate is flawed and subject to extortion. However, to reduce such practices recorded at some of its inspection centers, the Lagos State government has introduced a booking system. But some vehicle owners still have concerns about the process and validity of the document. Our correspondent Dare Idowu has this report.
Frustrated car owners at the Lagos Vehicle Inspection Service headquarters in Ojodu engage in an argument as they wait in line to get their vehicles tested. Motorists are expected to make the vehicles available for physical inspection before obtaining their roadworthiness certificate. Some motorists who have gone through the process say it's too stressful.
We caught up with Judge Chima, who's gone through the roadworthiness process, so he has some concerns. So for you, as soon as you got there at what time?
I got there as early as 8.
And you left what time?
I left like 2:06.
So what were the lapses the obvious lapses that you noticed in the entire process?
The process was slow, really slow. It was really time consuming. I noticed that they had just 2 machines, and the first list when I got there were like over 100. I say 100 cars already, people's names and plate numbers, because you register with your plate number.
Officials at the Lagos Vehicle Inspection Service take us around the facility, explaining the process.
You can all see yourself. Once they come, they park here, because that capacity cannot take more than 15. We proceed there, you see it now. Once we take them from here, we take them to this corridor.
They say the process is simple and straightforward.
The whole process is not new. People have been coming for it, and basically it is categorized into 3 phases, where we have the top visual inspection, we have the machine-based inspection, and we have the pit-based. On the visual-based inspection, we check the wiper blades, we check the tank cover, we check the lightings, we check the side mirrors, we check the door handles, the anchorage on the seat belts, we open the bonnet, check the firmness of the battery, we check the lead of the brake fluid, and so many other things. In 10-15 minutes, the inspection is done. Where we have the problem is the influx of people into a particular center.
Having received the certificate, Judge still has some concerns pertaining the validity of the document.
I want to know, is this roadworthiness certificate a federal government certificate, or do I need 36 roadworthiness certificate for the 36 states of Nigeria if I'm taking my car through the 36 states of Nigeria? Because a friend of mine had an experience of her roadworthiness was issued in Ogun State, and when the Lagos State VIO caught her, they fined her 20,000 naira and said her roadworthiness certificate is not valid.
Now, to ease the traffic and stem the surge recorded at some inspection centers, Lagos State government has introduced a booking system.
Going forward, we'll start giving people appointments based on when your renewal expires. So you will get an appointment, so you just not come to a center at your convenience. We will agree. We'll give you the option to choose when and where you want to come for an inspection. And once you get the appointment, you come on that scheduled date. We will do the test for you. You'll be on your merry way.
The state government says out of 26,442 vehicles inspected in January 2022, 15,998 passed, while 10,444 failed the minimum safety standard test. Dari Idu, Channels Television News.
To agriculture, the federal government has commenced the dismantling of the Abuja rice pyramids. On January the 18th, the president launched the rice pyramids as a showcase of efforts towards ensuring food sufficiency. According to the Rice Farmers Association of Nigeria, the bags of rice paddy are being sold to millers across the country.
Going. The famous Abuja rice pyramids are on their way to ground zero. Two weeks ago, over 1 million bags of rice paddies formed pyramids on the Abuja Trade Fair ground. Now, the number is reducing as the Central Bank of Nigeria, through the Rice Farmers Association of Nigeria, have commenced the sale of the paddies to millers.
Allocation was given to
competent and reliable rice millers across Nigeria. And they have paid for whatever they are taking, whatever they are evacuating today. Every rice miller is bringing his trucks. We certify his payments. We allow him to load. We weigh what is taken out. So you can see a hell lot of activities around.
One after the other, these trucks are loaded with rice paddies by these manual laborers for onward transportation to rice mills across the country. Each truck has a minimum carrying capacity of at least 500 bags of rice paddies.
As the pyramids are being dismantled, they are taken over from this particular location by the millers themselves. The truck that you see here are trucks that are owned by the milling companies who came to collect this rice to their company in order for them to mill and to produce fresh rice for Nigerians to have rice to buy and to eat.
After everything about the rice, we work on the rice with our own machine at the factory. From the parboiling to the bunker, through the bunker to the milling center. Finishing products. After finishing products, we now sow the rice.
It will be recalled that the rice paddies were aggregated from rice farmers who participated in the Anchor Borrowers Program, an initiative of the Central Bank of Nigeria. The idea is to ensure the provision of locally produced rice in the Nigerian market and ultimately scale back the price of rice in the country.
Let's find out what's happening in the world of business. Here's Laddie Williams.
Thanks, Melinda. On business news, Nigeria and Africa's largest electricity generating station, Egmi Power PLC, says it has resumed operations following the recent fire outbreak at its thermal plant on Wednesday this week. In a statement released today, the management of the company explained that the incident, which led to the temporary shutdown of its power station, caused power generation to drop by about 1,320 megawatts and led to subsequent blackout in Lagos State. Meanwhile, the company explained that its unit, which was put back in service and synchronized to the national grid on February the 4th at 7:57 p.m., is back on stream, generating 220 megawatts, while an additional 660 megawatts will be added to the grid before the end of the weekend. An economic think tank, the Center for Promotion of Private Enterprise, has raised concern over the recent introduction of electronic evaluator and invoicing by the Central Bank of Nigeria. A statement released by the Chief Executive Officer of the CPPE, Muda Yusuf, explains that the policy, which is intended to curb foreign exchange malpractices, will increase transaction costs, increase uncertainty, escalate business disruption, and weaken investors. Meanwhile, the firm recommends that the CBN should collaborate with the Nigerian Customs to address any gaps in evaluation processes as a better option that will prevent a parallel institutional framework for import and export transactions. An European multinational plane manufacturer, Airbus, says it plans to recruit 6,000 new employees around the world in the first half of this year. The commercial plane maker explains that it is looking to hire new talent to prepare for the future of aviation, as the aerospace industry at large is beginning to show significant signs of recovery. Airbus Chief Human Resources and Workplace Officer, Thierry Barrow, said a significant portion of the positions will also be earmarked for recent graduates, while emphasis will be focused on acquiring new skill sets to support the company's decarbonization efforts, digital transformation, and cyber technology. And trading activity at the FMDQ exchange closed positive this week as the total turnover of transactions carried out at the FX spot, forwards and futures markets rose marginally by 1.06% to $631.36 million as of February the 4th. Further analysis of the trading result shows the total value of transactions at the FX spot market rose by 1.49% to $479.11 million, while the FX derivatives market turnover was up by 8.33% to $152.25 million. Similarly, the Naira appreciated by 0.01% to 415 naira 99 kobo against the dollar at the Nigerian autonomous foreign exchange window of the forex market, in contrast to the 416 naira 4 kobo recorded last week. And Nigeria's stock market ended the first trading week of February stronger in the green as the benchmark performance indicators jumped by 2.33% after regaining the 47,000 point level, which it briefly lost within the week. At the same time, the total value of equities listed on the Nigerian Exchange Limited went up by 57.21 billion naira in the 3 trading sessions this week, largely driven by increase in Dangote Cement and MTN Nigeria's share price. Sectoral performance was mixed as the banking, industrial goods, as well as the oil and gas sector of the NGX ended positive, while the insurance and consumer goods sector declined. On the other hand, the equities performance on the activity chart was positive this week, as a total of 1.78 billion shares would change hands for 19.61 billion naira in over 27,800 deals. Meanwhile, RT Briscoe led a pack of 41 gainers, up by 40%. Quadville Business Solutions led 34 other losers, down by 11.67%, while the trio, Fidelity, Transcore, and GTCO, were major contributors to the total volume of shares traded this week. And that's it on business. It's back to you, Melinda, with the rest of the news.
Many thanks, Ladi. And for the latest in the world of sports, here's Chris Ellems.
Welcome to Sports News. Cameroon have completed a remarkable comeback from recovering from a 3-0 down to eventually win a dramatic penalty shootout and secure third place at the African Cup of Nations. Ambroise Oyongo scored the decisive penalty at the Olympus Stadium in Yaoundé as the indomitable Lions compensated for missing 3 kicks in the semi-final shootout defeat against Egypt on Thursday. Cameroon captain Vincent Abubakar ensured he would end the competition as top scorer after scoring twice in the game to take his goal haul to 8. Burkina Faso have now missed out on a bronze medal for the second time in 3 tournaments. Egypt coach Carlos Queiroz and his assistant Wael Goma will miss the African Cup of Nations final against Senegal on Sunday at the Olympus Stadium in Yaoundé. The pair was sent off after they had altercations with referee Bakri Gassama during Thursday's nervy semi-final clash, where the Pharaohs edged Cameroon 3-1 on penalties. In a related development, the Confederation of African Football cancelled a 2-match suspension handed to Egypt defender Marwan Dawood. Dawood has been suspended after he was charged for misconduct following a brawl that ensued in the quarterfinal game against Cameroon. The Falconettes of Nigeria have reached the final round of the qualification series for this year's FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup after they thrashed Cameroon 3-0 at the MKO Abiola Stadium, Abuja. Esther Onyenizede struck after 22 minutes. Precious Vincent increased the tally 8 minutes from the interval before Onyenizede struck again in the 73rd minute to put the match beyond the young Lioness. The Falconettes will now face Senegal in a 2-legged affair next month for a slot at the tournament in Costa Rica in August. The league management company LMC has given Heartland a deadline of February the 18th to perfect the payment of salaries due their players and officials or risk expulsion from the Nigeria Professional Football League. The LMC warned the club that a breach of deadlines will result in 6 points being automatically deducted from points already earned by the club, in line with the rules and regulations. The league governing body added that it would automatically relegate the Owerri-based outfits to the 2nd division. All Heartland players would be granted special authorization to move to other clubs if they fail to comply. The Court of Arbitration for Sports Cars has overturned the 1-year ban handed out by FIFA to former Confederation of African Football President Issa Hayatou. FIFA had ruled that the Cameroonian had breached its code of ethics when signing African football's largest ever deal with French media company in 2016. The 12-year contract, which is meant to run from 2017 to 2028, was worth $1 billion. The Swiss-based court ruled that there was insufficient evidence to establish a violation of the FIFA Code of Ethics, which would justify the sanctions imposed on Hayatou by FIFA. CAS also overturned the $30,000 fine slapped on Hayatou and ordered FIFA to settle its legal cost. That's sports news. I'm Chris Alems, and it's back to you.
Many thanks, Chris. There's been a tragic end in the effort to rescue a 5-year-old boy who fell into a deep well in Morocco, as the child has been confirmed dead after 4 days. His death was announced in a royal statement after he was removed from the well. The rescuer had walked through the night to reach the boy, named by local media as Rayan, who plunged 32 meters through the well's narrow opening. Rescuers were said to be in an access tunnel less than a meter from the child. Officials had said it was difficult to determine his health condition because a camera dropped down the well showed him lying on his side. Such a tragedy there. But let's move to Ethiopia now, where the UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres has renewed calls for a ceasefire in the Ethiopian conflict, which broke out in November 2020 and has killed thousands of people. The UN boss made the plea in his address to the 35th Assembly of the Heads of State and Government of the African Union, taking place in Addis Ababa this weekend. The summit comes amid concerns of an outbreak of coups that struck governments in Africa, and as the 55-member bloc faces pressure to push for a ceasefire in the host country, Ethiopia. The Queen has cut her platinum jubilee cake as she met members of the Sydenham community on the eve of the 70th anniversary of her reign. Ahead of Ascension Day, the 95-year-old hosted a reception for volunteer groups, pensioners, and fellow members of the local Women's Institute group. Guests included a former cookery student who helped create the original coronation chicken recipe. Sunday will mark the 70th anniversary of the Queen's ascension to the throne, the first platinum jubilee for a British monarch. It also marks the day her father, George VI, died in 1952. The event in the Sydenham House was the largest in-person public engagement the Queen has attended since a reception at Windsor Castle in October. Yes, it is. And the main news again. At least 27 people were today reported killed in separate attacks on 2 local government areas of Zamfara State. Some residents of one of the affected communities said they were raided after they refused to pay the 40 million naira levy demanded by the terrorists. And Moroccan authorities today announced the death of the 5-year-old boy who was trapped in a well for 4 days. I'm Melinda Kinlami on behalf of the team. Good night.